I left that job at the beginning of this year, and I thought, well, leaving the job, a little time to purge the stress out, that should be enough. And it wasn't enough. And I kept struggling, and it kept getting worse instead of getting better. And I thought, what is going on? I can't keep doing this. I was seeing chiropractors. I've seen medical doctors. I've had x-rays. I've had MRIs. I've had it all. And they're all like, yeah, we can't really see a problem. We don't really see what's wrong with you. And it didn't make sense because I was experiencing excruciating pain that it felt like to me someone had to have figured out. And I joined a new group on Facebook that was about, high vibe living. It was about, and it was a positive group of people. I was excited about it. And someone commented on there about experiencing ongoing chronic back pain and what can I do about that? And Kai Ashley had commented, I heal back pain. I have 100% success rate. And I was like, yeah, right. Okay. And so she said, message me if you want information. So I was one of those that said, okay, fine, I'll bite. I've tried everything else. Fine. You're 100% success rate. Sure. Let's see about that. I'm like, I can't do this. This is weird. But something in me said, you got nothing to lose. There's nothing, literally you've tried everything else. Why not try this thing? And so I did the whole 15-minute tapping exercise, and I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. So I messaged Kai about joining the case study, and I did, and we're 6 months in. And after that first session, I felt less pain. After the first round of 3 sessions we did, I definitely knew something was shifting and I was getting better. And we've done, I think, 3 rounds of 3 sessions now, I think. And in that 6-month period, and I know that I've made a lot of progress and a lot of change. When I sit down and try to quantify it, it's hard because I have put together all the things that I've done in that time frame. But really, I think the most transformative process for me was going through the heart and soul healing sessions, which at first I really thought were like, there's no way. And she's not lying. I wasn't able to do most things physically because there was a pain in my lower left hip, kind of like right in the pelvic region. It just prevented me from doing a lot of things. I didn't lift things. I didn't do a lot of things physically anymore because I really felt like I couldn't do them. I physically felt like I couldn't do them. And I kept thinking to myself, I am too young to feel this old. I felt like an 80-year-old person trapped in a 40-year-old body. And I thought, I can't do this. I can't live like this. I also wasn't sleeping. That was another big thing that shifted for me. I wasn't sleeping. I started having trouble sleeping in about August of 2019. Mm-hmm. And before that, I was like, I would be asleep within 17 seconds. I laid my head down on a pillow and I'd start to count to see how long it took. And I could never even get to 17 before I was asleep. And I would sleep through the night until my alarm went off until about August of 2019. And then that shifted. And so I feel like all the way along, my body was giving me signals. Mm. Like, I just didn't know what they were. I didn't know that they were trying to communicate something else to me. And I've since learned that pain and those feelings and the lack of sleep was all driven by unmanaged, unfelt feelings trapped in my body that I didn't know about. I knew that I didn't really feel my feelings, but I didn't realize that they could do what they were doing in my physical body. I would, in my mind, I pictured, oh, there's a feeling, there's something happening. Let me take a box and open it up and throw it in there, not put a label on it and throw it up on a shelf. I was just holding on to a lot of feeling. And this year, those boxes started rattling, and then they started falling off the shelf and busting open. And I think that all those feelings just then started flooding, and I had no idea what they were because they had no names, and they just were taking their toll. Every day when I woke up for several months, I had to do a series of just stretches just to be able to physically get out of bed. I set my alarm, or I wake up at least a good 30 minutes before I even have to get out of my bed, because I had to do stretches and whatnot to feel like I could move, to make my body like physically move, because it was so sore. And now I don't feel that anymore. And when I do notice, oh, I feel a little pain in this hip or that hip or this spot in the middle of my back, and I go, oh, wait a minute, that means something. What does that mean? And I check in with myself and say, oh, I'm feeling this way. I'm in a situation where I feel emotionally unsafe, or I don't feel, which makes me feel insecure. And that brings up that feeling, those feelings in that spot. And I can go, oh, okay, I know what that is now. And I can talk myself through that. I can say, you're safe now. You're not in that place. You're not, everything is fine. And just doing that simple exercise actually the pain goes, okay, we're good now. And it subsides and it goes away. So I've gotten back to, I started lifting weights again. Which I was not doing before. I can do squats again, which before I was like, nope, I can't do that, because that's what I did when I was injured the first time in 2017. I was doing a squat. And so the thought of doing a squat, I was terrified. I was like, oh, nope, can't do that. I can't do that. And of course, if I told myself I can't, then I can't. And my body responded, nope, yep, we're in pain. We can't do that. We're not doing that. And that's not the case anymore. I would say that it's super woo woo. And what I found this year is that the woo woo is what has helped me. It's not traditional going to the doctor and getting a prescription and this and that that's worked for me this year. It's the woo woo. It's the things that are outside the norms, the things that I might have before rolled my eyes at and said, oh yeah, okay. Like the thing that I did roll my eyes at was like, yeah, this is going to work. And I'm like, I feel like an idiot here. And when I do my sessions, I do make sure no one else is in the house. I make sure no one else is going to be coming home. I make it clear to people I'm in a session. Do not bother me. Do not interrupt me. Because otherwise I'm feeling a little bit self-conscious. Otherwise I don't want people listening to me making noises and sounds that come with doing the work. But now I don't really care as much because I know that it works, and the woo woo is where it's at.
Yay.
4 years of being in pain and 2 years of not sleeping, and I'm now sleeping again, and I won't say never in pain, but I have manageable pain that I can work through when I experience it now.
That's amazing. And then when it does happen, anytime we do a session, it just whoop, goes away again.
That's right. I realized a lot more about myself and about how I fit in the universe, which I didn't used to think about so much. And now I know, like, felt like the universe is giving me a solid message, and I need to learn the lesson this time. And I feel like that was really all of it together. It all came together in the right way. You weren't lying. I doubted you to begin with, but I'm sorry I did that, and I'm glad that I didn't just go, oh yeah, whatever, and ignore it, but I couldn't have ignored it if I wanted to. When you wrote that message there, I was drawn. I said, no, okay, I something has to work. Something has to change, because I was really at that point where I cannot physically do this anymore, and I don't have to now.